This video is once and for all going to decimate your terrible attempts arguing and retorting against MGTOW, red pill logic, and biology. I'm coming at you with facts and reason, something which you refuse to use. I have yet to hear an argument that exceeds a first grade level, so I won't expect much more in the detracting comments this video is likely to garner from the woke squad. Now that's out of the way, I hope those of you who enjoy my content, or new viewers who are open to new ideas, get something from this video and that you appreciate it. I want to say that I was recently approved for monetization by YouTube, then immediately all my videos were demonetized. Of course, right? They are also throttling my channel, so if you would be kind enough to visit my Patreon, which is linked below, and pass me a few dollars, I would greatly appreciate it. If not, share and like the videos and help me out. Follow me on BitChute and Twitter as well. So in my last video, my Joker review, which I highly recommend you watch, I referenced a pertinent quote that is misattributed to Cato the Elder. It was mentioned by a subscriber a few videos ago, and I believe it is so applicable to today's Western society that I had to do a video on it. The quote is, "If women are allowed to achieve complete equality with men, they will be your masters." Unquote. Considering men have such a natural deference towards women for reasons such as women are the weaker sex, women are the choosers of reproduction, and men desire women's empathy, it is then not unusual to propound that if women are granted the same earned privileges that men enjoy, then women's power will far exceed that of men's. Moreover, if women don't earn these privileges that men are required to do, then their power will extend even more, not to mention this will also cultivate an entitlement mentality from women. So here are the spheres of society in which women have an excess of power. It's more like the anti-family court system. Naming the divorce and child custody courts a family court reminds me of the birth control and condom section in stores that are unaptly named the family planning section. The family court system has proved to be utterly devastating to the modern man. Because of state benefits available to women and the alimony ordered by the courts to be paid out by men, marriage has become a method by which women are able to acquire resources. I've seen a study that says 75% of marriages are initiated by women. I've also seen upwards to 80%. And most cited reason for divorce by those women is irreconcilable differences. An empty and shallow reason. In regards to alimony, a 2010 census in the United States reported only 3% of men in a divorce case receive alimony, despite women being the leading earner in 40% of households. Seems fair, right? Just wait for this. Here is the average a man could pay in alimony according to the years him and his wife were married. If a couple was married for 10 to 20 years, a man could be paying for a decade. If the marriage was 2 decades or more, the man could be paying his ex until she reaches retirement age. Unbelievable. In a day and age where women are encouraged to enter the workforce and even prejudicially employed over more qualified men, there is no excuse for a woman not to have the capability and means to support herself. Moreover, what is frightening is that judges have the final discretionary judgment on the amount of alimony paid and length of payment. The following is a chilling account of a former family court judge. Quote, "When I was on the bench, I had a personal and informal rule that no matter how great the need, I would usually not leave people who were paying support with less than 40% of their income after they have made their child support and alimony payments. Without at least that amount, it seems to me that a wage earner has little incentive to go to work every day. However, if the supporting spouse was the parent of more than 4 children and the other spouse had no job skills, I might well break my rule and go lower than 40%. I have never discussed this rule with other judges, but I would expect that many, although not all, would agree with the reasoning." Wow! Wow! He sounds so empathetic and kind to leave a man with just as little as 40% of his income. Let all of us men bow down to the dictatorial man with the gavel who makes life and death judgments on a man's future. And when I say life and death, I mean life and death. Men in these kind of insurmountable alimony black holes have a far higher chance of suicidality than the national average. Do you see a pattern of bias yet? Since the advent of women into politics in the early 20th century, by means of being granted the right to vote and women being elected to office beginning in the 60s, Government policy has slowly been catering more and more to women. The principal issue addressed in these policies revolve around reproduction and the failure of women to take responsibility for their careless actions. The first one is the obvious one: abortion. Before I give you the stat, I want to point out the sophistry that occurs here in the article from the Guttmacher Institute, a self-described sexual and reproductive health rights organization. So basically a leftist Marxist organization. It says most U.S. abortion patients have health insurance in 2014. 35% had Medicaid coverage while 31% had private insurance. Newsflash, Guttmacher, Medicaid is not insurance. It's stolen money given to societal leeches by corrupt politicians bidding for their constituents' loyalty. Okay, onto the data. Approximately 862,320 abortions were performed in 2017, 926,190 in 2014. 18% of pregnancies in 2017 ended in abortion. That's staggering. 18%. 18 out of 100. And federal and state money are available to these women who commit murder on the unborn. Imagine if men were legally able to kill another human being and was paid by the government to do it. Also keep in mind, in regards to the prodigious number of abortions that occur per year, 29 states were quote-unquote hostile to abortions. The more conservative states, pretty much. Imagine if all states had the no-limits abortion like the 8 states that have it. It would be the Holodomor all over again. It would be a bloodbath. Most U.S. abortion patients, or women, had health coverage in 2014, not necessarily insurance, as we established earlier. 35% had Medicaid, while 31% had private insurance. However, insurance does not necessarily cover abortion services. Even when it does, patients may not use their coverage for a variety of reasons. For example, because they do not know their plan covers it, they are concerned about confidentiality, or their provider does not accept their plan. The Hyde Amendment passed by Trump a few years ago prohibits the use of federal money for abortions. However, state Medicare programs are now picking up the bill. 17 states cover the entire abortion costs for quote-unquote low-income women. 1/3 of children in the U.S. do not have a father in their life. That's 33% of children who are denied the stability of a 2-parent secure household. Instead, boys are growing up without a father to emulate, a paragon of masculinity in their lives. Little girls are left without a model to serve as a benchmark for choosing their future husband. In 2014, 49% of one-parent families were on welfare, since children of a divorce are overwhelmingly court-ordered to live with their mothers, and single, never-married mothers often house their children for the benefits. When the study says one-parent family, it means single mother households. The following is a panoply of benefits single mothers are qualified to receive. I was aware that single mothers receive benefits for having children. However, I was astonished at the amount available to them. I decided just to let you pause the video and read them instead of reading them myself. It would probably make this video twice as long. A final point about the political supremacy of women in America. Recently, Massachusetts Democrats proposed a bill in their state legislature to make the B word illegal. Now, I can't say the actual word because YouTube will throttle this video, and I want more men to see this data. But you know what the B word means. The Massachusetts Democrats also proposed jail time for B word utterers for up to 6 months. 6 months. We don't even have to theorize why the B word specifically is targeted. It was a female constituent of a legislator that suggested it to be banned. The white knights have such a deference for anything feminine that they propose to ban a denigrating word for a woman. Unbelievable. It won't hold up in the constitutional scrutiny if passed. But the fact progressives are proposing this demonstrates their true intentions to turn the West into a feminized, gynocentric, tyrannical state. We all are probably aware that Marxist feminism has been encouraging women to enter the workforce since the advent of the second wave feminism in the 1970s. The fact that women have been talked out of having children in exchange for bringing people their food at restaurants or checking people out at grocery store lines blows my mind. Recently, however, progressives are using the power of the state to further the cause of female parity in the workforce in all spheres of the economy. It's bad enough that women are abandoning families for the daily grind, but feminists want more. In California last year, a bill in the state Senate was passed and signed by Governor Jerry Brown that will mandate all publicly traded California companies to have at least one woman on their board of directors by the end of 2019. The minimum requisite will increase to 2 women by the end of 2021. This already has other states as progressive as California, New York included, to follow in its wake. A few have approved non-binding resolutions with a similar aim of gender equality already. I don't really have to add commentary to most of this data I'm reciting. It truly speaks for itself. You are a smart audience. You understand the consequences of the continual passage of these types of laws in America. Moreover, large companies and independent organizations have started gender initiatives that work to promote women in STEM. Imagine all the precious resources poured into these organizations who are probably not fulfilling their mandate of increasing women in STEM fields, since the women in STEM fields have leveled off recently. The tragically humorous thing about this is that corporations are using women's desires to be equal to men in the workforce to increase the labor pool, which decreases salaries. More than 100 countries now have a gender quota of some sorts, or an effort to increase gender equality and representation in their political system and workforce. It's only spreading. In the last few years, an ongoing nationwide movement has been spreading in the U.S. to expose men who have committed sexual harassment against women, especially those who are victims unwilling to come forward with the allegations. This movement, the Me Too movement, sparked ridiculous acts of censorship in entertainment, such as the removal of the song Baby It's Cold Outside from radio stations, editing out a blooper scene in Toy Story 2, and other ridiculous acts of censorship. This nascent crusade has since died down somewhat, but it is continuing to ruin innocent men's lives. I'm sure it was done for some good, to take down certain men who are perpetrators of sexual harassment. However, it has done far more harm than good. Women have used this movement to justify making unfounded allegations against innocent men. Just look at Blasey Ford last year. According to the book False Allegations, up to 41% of sexual assault allegations are false. Falsely accusing men of sexual harassment has become the MO for women who desire to destroy a man's life for a myriad of reasons. 2 such notable ones: regretting a consensual sexual encounter with a man or suing wealthy men for their money. In one such story involving Peyton Manning, a former trainer of the ex-NFL star was awarded $300,000 by Tennessee University after suing the school. She accused Manning in one such incident of briefly pressing his genitals against her face while she performed a foot exam when Manning was playing for Tennessee University in the 90s. She also sued Manning after he became an NFL star, which was settled out of court. Of course, she waited for him to get a big contract in the NFL. If I had been awarded 6 figures for every sexual harassment incident by a woman in the workplace, I would be a very rich man, a millionaire, for certain. There are many other cases in which men were falsely accused and their lives ruined. Unfortunately, except for a few cases, women who falsely allege sexual harassment are given but a small slap on the wrist by local authorities, if they receive any consequence at all. Title IX is a federal civil rights law passed in 1972 that requires gender equality in all aspects of publicly funded education. It has resulted in decreased athletic opportunities for male in both high school and college levels. Men's wrestling programs have been dismantled in the high school level despite increasing interest in the sport. Between 1981 and 1999, university athletic departments cut 171 men's wrestling teams, 84 men's tennis teams, 56 men's gymnastic teams, 27 men's track teams, and 25 men's swimming teams. This law has also caused severe problems in the public education sector, since the Obama administration declared that Title IX protects transgender students. In other words, boys who identify as girls are allowed entry to girl-only activities and vice versa. A side note, this transgender movement that has gained a lot of ground the last few years would not be possible without a society occupied by so many single mothers. In conclusion, feminism and the men who acquiesce to them has acquired privileges in Western society for women. Men once had these privileges, but men also burden the encumbrances which civilization requires to be addressed for it to continue. However, women have gained power without sacrifice, in addition to not having to deal with the consequences of bad choices. So men must now continue to take on society's burdens, plus remediate the bad choices women make. What a mess. Now, if you want to see women's overwhelming power, look no further than YouTube. You can't even peripherally criticize them, as evidenced by my demonetization and all the other demonetizations of MGTOW channels. It's because ads cater to women, and they don't want to be seen anywhere near any kind of content that might slightly disparage them at all. We need black knights, truth tellers who revolt against the current sophists in society, not white knights, not those who propagate these lies. We need black knights who call out and ostracize sinister people that lie and seek to gain power. We don't need any more cucked out white knights who enslave themselves and other men just to garner attention from women. This is the goal of my channel. I want to reveal the lies of today's society that mainly injure men and prop up women. Due to the trend towards gynocentrism in the West, rebuking and shaming those who make bad choices leads to the censorship of the truth teller because it hurts people's feelings, as they say. No more. This channel is here to shed light on the pernicious and maleficent forces residing in our civilization. I don't care if it hurts people's feelings. The truth must be told. We are a party of one.